Hello and welcome back to Boss Your Business and Your Mindset. And today, ladies, this is an episode for you. Today, we are diving deep into a topic that is near and dear to my heart, as I have been to my own journey with this. And I am welcoming Dee Davidson today as we are talking hormones, ladies, hormones. That pain in my ass sometimes. Fortunately, I'm far into my journey, but we'll get all of this and how this implements and affects your business and all the things. That's why I brought Dee on. Hi, Dee. So happy to have you. Tell my audience, who are you? What do you do? And why am I throwing the H word around?
Thanks for having me. First of all, I'm honored to be here. My name again is Dee Davidson. I'm a board certified functional health practitioner, and I have a certification in hormone health because we will get to my own struggles, but I've had hormone struggles pretty much my whole life since I was a teenager. I did not know that I had hormonal struggles until I went to conceive and had infertility issues. I thought painful periods were just something that women went through. And it was just part of life. And then I went to go have kids and had infertility issues. Post infertility treatments, I was almost 50 pounds heavier. So I had hormone issues there. And now I'm going to be 50 in a couple months. So I'm not having hormone issues because I've finally figured out what makes the hormones balance out and how to take care of that. But a lot of the women around me are having I don't know what's going on with my body moments. And so I'm super passionate about hormone health because people think that hormones are just about fertility. And that's so not true. Hormones regulate everything: your brain and nervous system, your pituitary gland, thyroid, your metabolism, insulin. Everything is related to your hormones. And people go, oh, wow, I didn't even know those other things were hormones. Our hunger cues, everything is regulated by hormones. So I'm really fascinated by what makes hormones get out of whack, suppresses them. And there needs to be a lot of education because I think that marketing and social media and all that has just told us, like, you're a woman, you get bad periods, and then you have menopause or perimenopause, and you just gain weight, and you can't sleep, and you have hot flashes, and that's just the way it is. And it's not true. It's not true. You just have to be informed, educated, and in tune with your body.
Oh my God. The first time, yes to all of it. The first time I was exposed to pretty much my own hormones, I'm like, when I was young, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm pretty easy on my period, always have been. I'm easy in comparison. I have crappy days, ladies, no question about that. But considering some of the stories I hear from my friends that are knocked out on the couch for a week and can't move, I have it easy. And then, so I'm like in the beginning and like in my 20s, I'm on the pill, I'm on artificial hormones and all the stuff. We know what that means, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then I met my late husband who had a vasectomy, and I'm like, I can get off the pill. I don't need to throw the stuff into my body.
Sure.
And it took me 2 years of insanity.
Wow.
To balance that back off again. That's the first time when I realized just the impact of just taking the pill, for that matter.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like
the crazy thing is that they put people on the pill. I just had this conversation with one of my best friends. She had a bowel obstruction, and you're probably thinking, like, well, why would you put on birth control for that? But doctors prescribe birth control for all of these crazy things that aren't even for preventing births, right? So it's crazy how many women use it for acne, trying to balance their hormones, which you're not balancing your hormones, by the way. What you're doing is putting your body into a hormone coma, and it probably took you that long to re-regulate because your body doesn't know what to do now. Like, you put it into this coma, this autopilot, and now your body's like, oh, I have to do this on my own, which is what I think happened with me with my infertility. I had every test under the sun, and so did the father of my children. And everything came back. It was so frustrating. Fine. Like, oh, sperm count's fine. You obviously, I have regular periods. But I really do believe that the body forgets what it's supposed to do without those drugs. And once I had my first successful pregnancy through infertility treatments I got pregnant again right away on the first month because we thought, oh, we're going to have trouble again. First time we tried, I got pregnant. I did miscarry at 14 weeks, but then they said, wait 3 months. And we were like, no, we're just going to do whatever. And got pregnant again first try. So I think that we suppress a lot of our functions through using birth control. And there's a lot of side effects. It's great at masking something. You know, I had another client who she started lactating at age 14 when she got her period. Very mysterious. And they said, oh, we'll just put you on birth control and it'll stop it. So, you know.
How about we figure out the underlying cause?
Thank you.
And I'm like, and it's that's the journey I have been on since then, because I'm like, it's not just about throwing other hormones into our body and trying to get pregnant. It's our lifestyle.
That's right.
This day, being more balanced, I have days where I can see myself what I'm doing. Yet, and I don't want to say I'm hormonal, but I don't have a better word to say it because I don't like him. Like, I'm just hormonal. I'm like, I'm female. I'm hormonal. Can we not use this as a stamp for?
I agree.
But it's like and it changes per day. So I'm still figuring my body out. I'm a data point, right? I'm a data point girl. It's like, okay, what did I do different this month than I did different last month? And hormones and how our body reacts and acts with hormones is an everyday for us in business.
Yes.
Where it's like when I have, and I can see the waves. I'm like, I have the Oura ring. I'm seeing my internal body temperature. I'm seeing my sleep scores. I'm seeing all of those amazing data points where I finally can also track my moods based on where my hormones go, where my body is.
Sure.
So it is an everyday of our business, of our life, and
absolutely.
But we don't have to struggle with it. So for my audience, and there are a lot of women in my audience, and guys, if you are still listening and watching to this episode, go support your partner.
I was going to say, if you want a happier relationship and a happier partner, share this with your partner and also start to understand the cycles. Like, I know my partner, he knows, I'm still cycling. I haven't gone into menopause yet, but he knows that week before, like, how he kind of treads a little more lightly, right? Like, I'm exhausted. And the more you understand your partner, if you are a male listening, the better your relationship's going to be. And you're going to really understand that the cycle is a real thing around business. I tell women, if you track your cycle, and after a while, you'll just understand, even for a little bit, you'll understand that, hey, maybe producing, creating, doing all these things the week before your period, not a good idea.
Nope.
You don't have the energy. It's just like exercise. These women who are like, well, I have to do my weight training and my HIIT workouts. And no, the week before your period, you should be resting, letting your body do. You're going to be shedding. What can you release? What can you let go of? And that's not just physically, it's emotionally, mentally, with your business. Okay, what do I need to stop doing? All of that should be a reflection point when it comes to right before your bleed phase.
And that's one of the things that I have in this collecting of data. What I have realized, it's right before my period is the best time for me to actually ideate and clean up. I can sit on the couch, I can take it easy, and things just come out of me. I'm like, why are we doing this?
That's
this needs to be cleaned up, new ideas there and all the stuff.
Yeah.
Recording videos, not gonna happen. It's like I look back at why did I push this YouTube video out? Why wasn't I doing it? Why was I fighting it so hard? And it always happened to be the week before my period. I'm like, really? Okay, so let's build the schedule around it.
Totally.
And what I would love to go into is, I know a lot of us women have started this journey of figuring out how does this work, realizing that strong, heavy, painful period is not necessarily something that's normal, even though we have been told this. where can they start their journey of, okay, collecting data, figuring out what's working, what's not working, balancing? What can they do to start their journey to really get out of this BS perception of what our body should be and start getting to where it can be?
Yeah, that's a great question. And a lot of times people will go on my calendar and schedule a hormone evaluation, and they automatically think like, I need to have lab work done. There's something wrong with me. And one of the first things that I ask is, have you ever worked with a hormone specialist or someone who's a hormone coach? Because if you haven't been educated on these foundational things we're going to talk about right now first and applied them, you have to take responsibility and accountability. I tell the ladies, like, I can give you all the tools, but you have to really do them and understand your body and get back into your body. Can't go around being a, autopilot, unconscious being. But I urge them, try these things for 90 days, because again, we have to understand that if you try seed cycling, I'm not sure if you've heard of that, or you're trying to track your cycle and implement these things, you're reseeding your body and recalibrating. It's not going to happen the first cycle, probably. It's more likely going to show up in your energy, your sleep, your lessened PMS symptoms 90 days later. And you have to be consistent with the things. But the things that I have women start with, I use this acronym DRESS, like a dress that we put on. And I have them start with diet. So blood sugar regulation and hormones are like this. So many women have their blood sugar going like this. They're not eating, I'm eating healthy. I have some carrots in the afternoon for a snack. We have to understand and look into blood sugar regulation. A lot of people are going around wearing those CGMs. You'll see them put them on, or you can use a glucometer, but really just common sense. I just think that science is great, and some people love to see all the numbers and things, but common sense of, right? Yeah, it's
I
a
love
good
numbers.
tool, but for some people it's so unhealthy because then they get so fixated on that, and they're again not listening to their body. And we have to be reconnected with, how do I feel 90 minutes after I eat that, 60 minutes to 90 minutes after. But having what I call a magic plate of all the things, you have to have greens on there. A lot of women not eating leafy greens, because leafy greens help to absorb that glucose spike. Carbs aren't bad. We've been told that carbs are bad, but we need carbs, like good carbs, sweet potato, vegetable. We need carbs for fuel. That's why so many women are fatigued, especially the week before your period. You need carbs to have that whole process happening. But they do spike, like blood sugar levels can spike from a sweet potato. Of course, it still has sugar or fruit, but it doesn't mean it's bad. You can do certain things like eat your leafy greens first, then it coats the upper intestine, and when you eat the carb, you're going to have less of a glucose spike. But blood sugar is a huge one when it comes to hormones. If your blood sugar is all dysregulated, your hormones are going to be all over the place. So make sure you have your leafy greens, enough protein. Ladies, you got to be eating 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. Did you want to add something
that
to
was
that?
that was one I just learned. I'm working with my coach, who is like, okay, cool, I'm seeing the transition. You are not quite progressing as much as I would like. Are you eating enough protein? Because ladies, if we are not eating protein before working out, you are actually eating up your muscle.
That's right. That's right.
So that's why I was smiling over here, because I just had calculated literally last week, calculated how much protein I am supposed to be taking in an average.
Right.
It's like, I love numbers, but I'm not going to be like, oh my God, this has to happen this way.
Right.
I take it as a guideline, and I am about 25% below the protein intake without, I haven't planned on it. I haven't paid attention to it.
Right.
So just with my standard diet, I'm 25% underneath what I should be taking for the workout schedule I have.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and that's a great point, because typically it's 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. Everybody's different. So again, don't base it on your sister, your mother. Everybody's different, and you have to listen to your body. How's your energy? Are you building muscle when you're working out? But if you work out, you need even more protein, because you are burning through it, and you need to build up that muscle that you're breaking down. So 1 gram per pound that you want to weigh. And people go, that's a lot of protein. But
Exactly. I was like, how much?
yeah, you need to learn and work with someone like your coach to understand, like you can layer when you start to understand it's not a huge piece of steak. It can be, but it can be just layered approach of different protein sources.
I looked at, so based on that, he's like, hey, I know you don't necessarily have an, I have never done the whole macro thing or whatever. It's
Yeah.
German. I know how to cook. I eat
Right.
fairly healthy in consideration to how the US eats. So I was never really paying full attention to it. So he recommends this app to me to get an idea of how many calories am I getting, how many fats, and protein specifically. We only paid attention to
Sure.
the protein. And I was really surprised of doing one of those Buddha bowls
Yeah.
with what is the name of it? Not rice in the bottom, the grain thingy.
Quinoa.
Quinoa. Thank you. Quinoa on it, some greens. I loved the tip of just put a rainbow on it. So I literally
Yeah.
go by color, all kinds of
That's
greens, all kinds
great.
of stuff, and put a protein on top. If that's some
Yep.
steak or some chicken, and it standard bowl that I really like, and I don't have to quote bulk up and do all these
Right.
things. And it was like 45, 50 grams of protein right
Awesome. And
there. I'm like,
quinoa, that's the other
sweet.
thing. Quinoa is a great source of protein. People think of just meat and fish and eggs, but quinoa is a great source of protein. It's an easy thing. You can prepare quinoa, keep it in the fridge, scoop it out, right? So
Mhm.
all of these
That's
things.
exactly what I did. I'm like, I have a box of quinoa. I just did the whole full cup thing, prep it in the fridge, throw it
I
all
think
together.
sometimes we work ourselves up to think it's going to be much more than it needs to be. So having someone like your coach or myself simplify is is key. Like what things can you do that you can repetitively eat once you cook it? You have it in the fridge. It doesn't have to be like I have to cook this whole meal 3 times a day. That some things can be a little bit simpler. But looking at that, your protein, your eat your greens first for blood sugar regulation. Carbs, you need carbs. So single ingredient carbs. Carbs aren't bad. And good rule of thumb, just look at your plate. Do you have a fist or like a mound there? You don't have to track macros and do all that. If you want to, that's great. That's awesome. But
My God, I'm like,
you,
it's not going to happen if I have to track all of this.
but it's not sustainable. I'm all about sustainability. And the people that come to me,
Love
like I
that.
had a woman yesterday who, can you have my husband on the discovery call too? Because he wants to know what's going to be different about you than everything else I've tried. Well, sustainability is key. You can't say, I'm never going to have another piece of cake or another glass of wine. If you like those things, you're going to be always wanting, craving it, like out of restriction. So we have to learn how to live that 80-20 rule in moderation, not restriction. It just does not work long term. But if you have those things on your plate and you're balancing your blood sugar, eating every 3 or 4 hours, you're going to be in a much better position to fuel your hormones. Make sure that you have fat too. That's the other thing. A lot of women restrict fat or they don't even think about it, but you need healthy fat because healthy fat is what actually creates your hormones. So if your hormones are depleted and you're not eating avocados, olives, salmon, good fats with every meal, you're not helping fuel new hormones. That's very, very important. And eating in the morning. So I know a lot of people have jumped on the whatever train, intermittent fasting. That was me too. And when I checked my hormones a few years ago, I had tanked my hormones because if you have most women have stress, even though they might come to me and say, I don't have a lot of stress. When we start doing the checklist, they have a lot of stress. They got businesses they're running, they got kids they're taking care of, significant others, they're traveling. Like one lady just said, oh, I realized traveling's my lifestyle. Yeah. So, that's a stressor, even though you think it's fun. And so if you're waking up and then you're doing your workout, a lot of people work out on an empty stomach,
Mhm.
or you're getting right off to work, getting on those calls and things, running your business, it's like trying to run your car on an empty tank. It's just not good for women. Intermittent fasting, if you're a male listening, men do great with intermittent fasting because we have to think of our biological makeup. Men were made, nothing against, not like feminists or anything like that, but men were made to go out into the fields for hours without access to food. Women, we were the homemakers biologically. I know that society's taken us a different route, but our biology is our biology. And so intermittent fasting, if you're going to fast, there's a great book called Fast Like a Girl. Have you heard of
Yep.
that?
Yep.
So it's a
I have
great
read
book,
that. Mhm.
but it talks about how do you fast. That fasting has a lot of great benefits for cellular cleanup and all of that, GI rest, but there's a way to do it as a woman. I highly recommend that book. Might be cutting off eating at 5 or 6 p.m., but don't cut off eating in the morning until 11, 12, or 1 o'clock, when you're the most activity you have to do for the day and the most demand for your body and your business is going to be earlier in the day, hopefully. That's a huge thing, making sure you eat an hour to an hour and a half after you wake up, and then every 3 or 4 hours to maintain your blood sugar, because your blood sugar and hormones, just keep remembering, they go together. If your blood sugar is dysregulated, your hormones are going to be all over the place.
Yeah, and
So
that
that's a big one.
breakfast in general has been a struggle for me in the past. My breakfast was a coffee.
Oh yeah, and that spikes your cortisol.
my past, anybody listening, that has been my past. I found my way in some simple breakfasts, and I go through phases with
Yep.
being neurospicy. It's like I get hyper focused on one food till I'm completely tired of it because I had it for the last 2 months, and then I switch to something else. That's how my
Yes.
brain works.
Yeah, that's okay.
And right now, it's a simple banana pancake that I was exposed to. It's literally
Sounds
just
delicious.
one banana, in my case, 2 eggs. I throw in some protein powder. I throw in some chia seeds, some flax seeds.
Yeah, great
Bake that
stuff.
out, some fresh fruit with it, and some unsweetened applesauce on top. It's fastly done. I don't have to think about it. It actually doesn't feel like breakfast to me. It feels like a treat to me.
Yeah, that sounds
And
amazing.
I can stick to it. And then once I get tired of it, chances are I'm gonna get back to a yogurt again, throwing some protein powder in. I don't do well with just protein drinks. I don't that whole grainy
The
thing.
consistency.
I just can't. And so I try to sneak, just to help a little bit. I'm not going all crazy with protein powders, but trying to sneak it in a little bit just to help
Got it.
keep it
Right.
up there. And just finding an easy way to do it. It's possible, but I have seen the difference of paying attention to that and having even just a little something in the morning.
That's right.
I'm still bad with having my coffee first. I need an hour to wake up, and then I have breakfast. But at
Yeah.
least we're getting somewhere. We're doing something, right?
That's right. It's progress, not perfection. We're always
Mhm.
evolving. And I tell people at first you just become aware, like, oh, you don't shame or guilt yourself, because that's a whole other ballpark. We don't want to go there. But you want to be aware and just say, oh, yeah, I need to get better at that. But you have compassion and love for yourself, and you meet yourself where you're at. And then little by little things change. I've been doing this for 3 decades, like this whole holistic health thing. And even I saw a meme or whatever you want to call it on Instagram that said, "Stop being mad at your body. Remember that you ate all those Oreos and fruit roll-ups, and it's a miracle that you're even alive." And I think about that. In my 20s, I used to eat like those lean pockets, disgusting, like
Oh God,
microwave
yes.
food. But I thought that was healthy because it was lean pocket, right?
Uh-huh.
Or all that junk. So it's like it's progress, not perfection, not shaming, not guilting, but saying, okay, one of my favorite sayings is begin again. Tomorrow I'll begin again, and I'll be a little more aware of that. So diet's important. And you brought up the seeds, which is a good thing for people to look up, is seed cycling. Have you heard of seed cycling?
I've heard about it. A friend of mine, her daughter is into seed cycling. Tell the audience, what is it? Because I'm pretty sure you explain it better than I would.
Yeah, no. So if they want to find it, if you're on Facebook and you go to the Confidently Healthy Collective, I have a free community. I have a picture of exactly what seeds to eat at what times of the month. But there are certain seeds that can help with progesterone, estrogen that we start to drop right before our period. So it's just cycling where, the first week of the cycle you eat these seeds, then these, and so you're doing a great job incorporating some of that. You might not intentionally know it, but it really supports hormone production, those healthy fats, again, that women just not a lot of women that I talk to are eating chia seeds or flax or hemp or things like that, and it can make a big difference in your cycle. So I'm sure even if you Google seed cycling, it's not, it's all the same. So you can get a little picture and you just follow it, and then you start to know what to do. for the different phases. But that the diet piece is huge for your hormones, making sure you're eating enough food. Way too many women eating around 1,000 to 1,200 calories. That's a child's diet, by the way. So you need to fuel your body properly and make sure you're eating enough. You don't have to track calories, but making sure, okay, do I have the proper nutrition on my plate? And also, I'm a big fan of the hair mineral test, the HTMA test, because a lot of women are deficient in a lot of minerals. They take a multivitamin, but they're not getting minerals, which our body needs minerals, or you feel lethargic, you're lacking, you're not absorbing nutrition. A hair mineral test, it's a couple $100, clip some hair, send it in, but you can see what you're deficient in so that you can target and rebuild the body, especially once you get to midlife. Like, we've gone through a lot of things that could be a game changer for your hormones and vital reserve, raising vital reserve. Rest is the R in dress. So rest doesn't just mean that you go to bed and you go to sleep. Rest means that you're listening to your body, as we were saying before your period. Are you tired? Okay, you need a nap. Take a nap. Give yourself permission to rest. Go lay out on the grass. Go to the beach. You don't have to push through that hard workout. You don't have to push through that big project. If you have too many people on your calendar, you don't have to explain yourself. When we say no to someone else, we're saying yes to ourselves. Take them off your calendar. You don't have to explain. As long as you're courteous and you give enough notice, but you have to rest and allow your body to not push through.
And even if I'm like, just be honest, I had a situation yesterday where I had to reschedule a podcast recording, and I'm like, set my assistant on, and I'm like, hey, let her please know it's a short-term change, and we all have lives. We all have things going on. As long as you're courtesy about it, it's not a problem.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. You got to listen to your body. The E is exercise. So again, I believe in joyful exercise. If you don't like HIIT workouts and you're like, oh, HIIT workouts are the best for midlife, your body and your cells is listening. Every day when you're pushing yourself through that, it's a negative thing. We want a positive exchange with our cells, not a negative exchange. So weight resistance, we know that's the best for insulin. That's the best for, we need muscles to burn calories and burn fat and all that stuff, your metabolism. But you don't have to do CrossFit or do, just some moderate things. Start small, walking with weights even for some muscle mass. But you have to like what you do for exercise, and you have to exercise. I'm sorry. I like exercise, but there's some days that I'm like, oh my God, I got to do this for the rest of my life. But yes, you do, right? You have to do it. It's like brushing your teeth. Your teeth are going to fall out. If you want to stay healthy,
And
you're
going to feel better afterwards.
Yeah, right. Even 10 minutes after a 10-minute walk after you eat, just to bring your blood sugar levels down. Start somewhere. Start small, ladies. And then stress. Stress is a big one. So stress is not just external financial relationship, all the BS that we come with. Yes, you have to learn to manage those things. Also, they're hidden stressors. So that's where functional lab testing comes in. And I went back to school a few years ago because what I found was with the foundational things, I could move the needle a ton with about 70% of my clients. But then there was this 30% population that it's a real thing when we talk about science. This is where science really comes in handy, that you might have hidden stressors. You might have low stomach acids, so you're not breaking down amino acids from your meat and absorbing it. Maybe your mineral deficiencies, you need a hair mineral test. Maybe you have a parasite or a bad bacteria. And so I work with people the first 3 months on the foundational things, but if we see like things aren't moving, it's a real thing. Don't blame yourself or beat yourself up. You might have a hidden stressor that you need to have functional labs done to rebalance the body and remove those stressors. I describe it as like having your phone tabs open.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of tabs open, what happens to your phone or your computer?
It slows down.
Yeah, that's your body. And by midlife, you have a lot of tabs maybe open. And so those hidden stresses need to be evaluated, but don't jump to that. Work on these foundational things, the diet, the rest, the exercise, stress. And stress also needs to be reduced through things like meditation, just taking 10 deep breaths, checking in with yourself. If you've had 5 calls for the day or you've been on 2 meetings, how do I feel right now? Okay, let me just take 5 breaths. People undermine the power of breathing, right?
Yeah.
Like the people that have the smart watches that say you need to breathe. That's like a real thing. Just
Mm-hmm.
resetting the nervous system. Somatic practices like bilateral eye movement, all those little things. They tell your body, I am safe, I'm okay, I'm aware that we've had a busy day, I'm aware that I'm here right now. And you have to do those things not just when you're feeling stressed, but just like brushing your teeth. You have to do not all of them every day, but maybe put your legs up a wall. Maybe you give yourself some little taps, some EFT taps, something every day to check in and tell your body like it's okay. I'm helping you get out of fight or flight. Because if you're constantly in fight or flight, that's when cortisol,
Oh God.
goes crazy.
That has been a
Yeah.
journey of a year for me. Um, you gave us a lot of resources, a lot of things, and I know you also have a wellness toolkit for my audience, guys. As
Yes.
always, all the links are in the description. Dee, tell my audience where can they find you, and give them an idea what they can find in that wellness toolkit.
Yeah. So wellness toolkit is really great. We didn't really talk about metabolic typing, but I did talk about the fact that we all have different metabolic needs, which means, you might need more red meat. I might need more. I actually do need more fruits and vegetables. I could be vegetarian. So there's a metabolic typing test you can take there to find out what foods are best for you and your unique self. There is 10 tips to quickly lose fat, because there's a difference between fat loss and weight loss. You don't want to be losing muscle, as you said, or
Mhm.
just water weight, so that you can get that free tracker there. There's a bunch of just great things. Healthy carb lists, so that you can understand that carbs aren't bad. These are the healthiest ones. Lots of great free tools there. My podcast link is on there. So Confidently Balance Your Hormones is my podcast. That's on there. Lots of great things there. Just go to confidentlyloveyourself.com and then just go to the toolkit and you'll find a bunch of freebies on there.
And again, guys, as always, the straight link is in the show description too. Dee, love this episode. So much information, so many things, so much I now gonna tap into and see what I can continue, evolve, and make better in my journey. Thanks so much for joining me today. That was fun.
Thank you for having me. I love that you get some takeaways yourself.
Bye, everybody.